All right, what is good, guys? I want to get this done for the Discord, and it's only going to be private for the Discord for the people who join into the trade recap. So again, for the people in the live session today, we know we took this trade. We were targeting easy session lows, first take profit, second take profit. We'll go over the trade, okay? So coming into market open, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. We could see we were forming this 4-hour S&T off of this 4-hour high, right? We could see NASDAQ created a high and a lower high, right? Off of this high right here at Monday the 6th, April, right? Monday the 6th, right? As you can see, from the high and a higher high on NASDAQ, high and a lower high. We ended up forming that 4-hour S&T, so we wanted to anticipate that, okay? Go to the hourly time frame. We could see that in the hourly time frame, we formed an hourly fair value gap. We inversed this hourly bullish fair value gap. We broke structure back to the downside. We broke structure back to the downside. Did we on ES? We didn't yet on ES, but again, we inversed this hourly bullish, bullish gap. I wanted to see a retrace into that and then continue lower. You can go and see the daily bias. If you want to go see the daily bias, go to the daily bias section. I have that video posted up now. Go watch that if you want to go see the daily bias of today, right? So coming into the day, I usually like to see a 15-minute sweep in the hourly gap, but we had a 5-minute high, right? We didn't have a 15-minute high. Let's go to the 5-minute time frame. We can see on the 5-minute time frame, we ended up forming a 5-minute S&T, right? NASDAQ formed a high and a higher high. ES formed a high and a lower high. What do I want to see after that? We broke structure to the upside here, right? So I want to see a break of structure to the downside also. We end up breaking structure on the downside in the leading index, okay? That caught my attention, but what I want to see first is a break of structure to the downside on NASDAQ also, which we ended up getting around 9:35 a.m. We weren't entered in a trade yet, okay? So we scale down to the 1-minute time frame. What do we have below? We have these hourly lows. We had these 15-minute lows that were right here. Boom. Boom. We had these 15-minute lows. I wanted to target these draws. I really wanted to target Asian session, right? That was my overall draw for today, right? So what do? We scale down to the lower time frame. What do I look for? We saw that we broke structure on the 5-minute. We formed a 5-minute S&T. We swept the 5-minute high and hourly fair value gap. We're forming a 4-hour S&T. I'm going to anticipate that the market wants to continue lower. Also today, Trump is supposed to talk about what he's doing with Iran and everything in the war. I think it's going to be bearish news, in my opinion. If you look at the daily bias also, I'm talking about this monthly gap that I want to see this first presented fair value gap get touched into an equilibrium. So I'm overall bearish, okay? So what do? I'm scaled down to the 1-minute time frame. We're over here on NASDAQ, right? My entry, I'm looking on the 1-minute time frame. I was going to enter on ES, but I thought we had a better entry on NASDAQ. Okay, so what am I looking for? Let's go to where we entered, right? So we could see we formed that 5-minute S&T. We break structure on the 5-minute time frame. We end up coming back up. What do? We end up inversing this gap. This is at 936, right? So we go to 936 over here on ES. We could see ES didn't inverse this gap yet, ended up inversing it at 938. That's why I didn't enter, right? We could see that ES was coming into equilibrium and it came into this fair value gap, but I wanted it to touch equilibrium. That's why I didn't enter it yet. Right? We're already in a bearish trend on the 1-minute, but we ended up breaking structure back to the upside on NASDAQ. So I wanted to see this get inverse first and then a break of structure to the downside. When do we get that break of structure to the downside? Right here at 940, right? I enter in one position. I enter in one micro and I have my stop loss above this high at this point, correct? I want to see extra confirmation for price. Hold on one second. This is the YouTube video. I want to see extra confirmation for me to be comfortable with price to continue lower, because again, this is a bigger stop. This is a 65-point stop loss, so I'm comfortable with 1 micro at the moment, correct? What do I wait for? We end up forming equilibrium from this most recent high to this most recent low. We end up coming into equilibrium. We get a bearish candle closure out of it, right? This is a beautiful bearish candle closure. This ended up being my second entry, okay? Second entry, I ended up putting my stop loss above this high to reduce risk, around 33 points. On the second entry and 42 points on the first entry, right? Targeting Asian session lows. But this was my final take profit here, right? As we could see, we're going to X that out. Originally, I had this marked as break even because this was a 15-minute low, as we could see right here, but we ended up going straight through it. We also had another 15-minute low down below, which I wanted to be our break-even level, but I ended up making this my move stop loss, right? I have this as MSL, move stop loss. I ended up moving my stop loss down above this high, because in my opinion, this is a protected high, correct? And I want the trade to run. As we can see, if we moved it to break-even, we would have been stopped out at break-even, right? But I'm letting the trade run here, We end up forming a 1 minute bullish gap that was right here, right? This little tiny one. We end up inversing that, forming a 1 minute bearish gap. I was comfortable of moving my stop loss then above this high, right? Then I move it above this high. Once we break this low again, I decided to move my stop loss to break even, right? And then we have this 15-minute low where we could potentially reverse, and we also have this hourly low. So I ended up putting my first take profit in between both of these, okay? I was comfortable. I had it originally at this 1 hour low, but again, it would have been an extra 6 points, which I don't really care about. We end up hitting our first take profit. I move my stop loss in profit, right? Letting it run, letting it run. Once it looked like we were going to continue lower, we got this giant candle down here. I decided to trail tightly. We ended up moving all the way down. I ended up trailing tightly here. We ended up getting stopped out right here, which was literally, I think, what? Let's see how many points. Which was 7 points away from our full take profit, which was an extra $14 per account. I don't care about. We had one micro left, and we could see full take profit ended up hitting, and prices continuing lower to that daily low. So again, overall good trade. We still hit around 103 points on this trade. Whichever this was. Hold on. Let's move that back. I think it was 102 points or something like that. 102 points on our first entry. I think it was 106 on our second entry, which is plenty for me, right? And our first take profit was, let's see how many points our first take profit was. 71 points, which is plenty. 2 micros. We ended up making what we saw in the chat. I don't even show that because it's just going to be through the Discord. And then we went from there. So again, if you got any questions, type them in the chat down below. We have the trading questions section, but again, pretty simple trade recap today. We were in an overall bearish trend. I was overall predicting that we were going to make that 4-hour SMT, which we did. We had an hourly bearish gap above. I wanted to see something get swept out in there between a 5-minute and a 15-minute high. We ended up doing that, forming a 5-minute SMT, breaking structure on the 5-minute time frame, scaling down to the lower time frame, looking for our confirmation. We ended up getting confirmation. We entered in a small position size at first to get into the trade. We waited for extra confirmation, the trade to go in our direction. We ended up getting that. We got another entry here, and then we continued to follow the trend all the way down, targeting our first take profit got hit, and then our second take profit hit, letting it run for around a 1 to 2 risk to reward. All right, guys, if you have any questions, type them in the questions chat. The Discord is fully redone, so again, you should be able to see where it is. It says trading questions. We'll get this posted up, and we'll start doing this from now on. This is only going to be for the Discord. So the people in the Discord, if you want to see my trade recaps, you can go to it. It's private to you guys. Nobody else, not on the main YouTube. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to do it to help you guys and also go back and look at my journals. All right, guys. Peace out. Have a good day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios.